Chapter 1 Cheating is fun for a while, cheating is always fun. Chapter 1 It's fun to cheat for a while, but it's always fun to cheat all the time. Konoha, Senju Station. In the old-fashioned Biwin, a young man about 11 years old with delicate features looked at the moon in the sky and murmured, "This is the Hokage world." Obviously, Lin Yi is a time traveler. He originally just downloaded a Hokage World game at home, and after choosing details such as era and identity, the character was generated. Before experiencing the plot, Lin Yi directly opened the modifier downloaded with the game, and prepared to modify the game character. What strength, what dungeon, just clearing the level means you haven't modified enough. Lin Yi is a standard player whose goal is to have fun. But when he just started modifying, he threw a lot of zeros behind the skill points, and suddenly the computer screen went black, and then his eyes also went black, and then he traveled here. Time travel to the world of Hokage. After a moment of silence, Lin Yi said, "Open the template." Player, Lin Yi. Skills, Konoha Fluid Technique LV5, Fire Style Great Fireball Technique LV1, Earth Style Earth Flow Wall LV1, Immortal Body LV0. Skill Points, UN%. This is the template he brought with him after time travel, and it seems to come from the game he played before time travel. Behind every skill, there is a small plus sign, obviously it can be upgraded. It's a pity that it is different from the game. Behind the skill points in the template, there are a lot of garbled characters. Did something go wrong when I was playing the game? The corner of Suyi's mouth twitched. If he had known that he would travel here, he would not have modified it. The big deal is to rely on strength to beat it little by little. My background at the beginning of this game is still very good. But it's too late to regret now. Lin Yi looked at his template. His skills are not bad, although due to his low strength, he only has one physical skill, one low-level offensive evasion technique, one low-level defensive evasion technique, and a passive physique that has not yet been awakened. But very comprehensive. Lin Yi hesitated, trying to add points to his skills. Konoha Fluid Technique. The current level has been raised to LV6, update successed. I can still add more. Then let's continue to add more. Lin Yi hesitated, and continued to click down without any hesitation. Konoha Fluid Technique. The current level has been raised to LV13, Konoha Fluid Technique. The current level has been increased to LV27, Konoha Fluid Technique. The current level has been increased to LV99. A series of upgrades sounded. Although Lin didn't need to frantically click on the upgrade, he kept clicking it in his mind, which made him very speechless. Finally, Konoha Fluid Technique. The current level has been raised to LVMAX. The upgrade finally stopped, and the plus sign finally disappeared, apparently reaching the highest level. Konoha Fluid Technique. The current level has been raised to LVMAX, and the additional status Physical Technique Grandmaster has been obtained. Physique Grandmaster. After hard training, you have excellent physical skills, no more ways to defeat the enemy, physical strength +1, attack power +1. In the next second, Lin Yi felt warm on his body, as if he was getting stronger. His fists were clenched subconsciously, his body was straight, his breathing slowed down, and his muscles seemed to have an imperceptible rhythm. It's interesting. Lin Yi squinted her eyes, feeling the changes in her body. Is this the effect of stamina +1? Unlike skill, additional status seems to be an additional existence, which is not displayed in the skill bar. But it does exist. Lin Yi just casually looked towards a stone platform in front of him, and dozens of ways to easily break the stone platform popped up in his mind. In an instant, he turned into a physical master. However, he was not surprised at all. Such a change in the game template is not surprising. What he really cares about is skill points. It took nearly 100 points, but the pile of garbled characters still hasn't changed at all. Lin Yi narrowed his eyes and scanned the other 3 skills. Upgrade. Fire style Great Fireball technique. The current level is upgraded to LVMAX, and the additional status Fire style Grandmaster. Earth style Earth Flow Wall. The current level is increased to LVMAX, and the additional status Earth style Grandmaster. Fire style Grandmaster. After hard training, you are more familiar with the use of Fire style, Fire attribute affinity +1. Earth style Grandmaster. After hard training, you are more familiar with the use of Earth style, Water affinity +1. This Earth and Fire attribute +1. Is it a human attribute? Lin Yi looked at it with a strange look in his eyes. He knows that there is a change in the so-called chakra attribute in Hokage, and many high-end ninjutsu need to have the chakra attribute to use it. And his attribute affinity +1. 9 out of 10 is to increase this attribute. This immediately made him even more excited, which meant that he could completely complete the 5 attributes, and even make it even more perfect. Of course, what excites him the most is the skill points haven't changed yet. Could it be unlimited? A look of excitement flashed in Lin Yi's eyes. Sure enough, it's fun to cheat for a while, and it's always fun to cheat all the time. Fortunately, I am a player who likes to cheat. Lin Yi was excited for a while. Just when he was about to try to increase the last skill to full level, suddenly there was a knock on the door. Lin Yi, are you there? The next second, the door was pushed open, and a beautiful figure walked in. Golden shawl and long hair, beautiful face of Yuja, but the most eye-catching thing is the rare and huge murder weapon under the neck. Sister Tsunade. Chapter 2, The Realm of God Who Disregards All Vicious Possessions. Chapter 2, The Realm of God Who Disregards All Violence. When Lin Yi played the game, he set his protagonist as the Senju clan, and then in line with the habit of setting the party, he wrote the background of Brother Tsunade in the introduction of his protagonist. This kind of thing is nothing in the game, but in reality, he literally replaced Nawaki as Tsunade's younger brother. Sister, you're here. Lin Yi smiled. Two-dimensional and three-dimensional are completely different existences, but Tsunade has one thing in common: this weapon is extremely brutal. Why are you so polite? Tsunade chuckled lightly. Didn't you always jump over to give me a hug when you saw me in the past? Hey, does my game character still have this setting I like? Lin Yi immediately followed suit, embraced her without hesitation, and said casually, "Isn't it so happy to see my sister? I forgot." Most importantly, due to height reasons, the head of Lin Yi, who is only 8 years old now, just landed on. Really soft, really fragrant, really facial cleanser. Tsunade's cheeks flushed. Although Lin Yi is his younger brother, it's not too much to hug, but isn't it always a gentle hug in the past? Why this time directly? Tsunade hesitated, lumping it into the category of accidentally. Lin Yi, feeling Tsunade's viciousness, already had a shock similar to that of a primary school student in his mind. Damn it, why is Tsunade so fierce? It feels like a sponge, covering my head. Is it an F, or a G? Do not. The level should be even higher. That is to say, the legendary I rank great friends review the alphabet with me. Ubdivki. Please tell me loudly, which grade is I? That's right, level 9. 9th grade. The superpowers in Academy City are at most level 5, what does level 9 represent? The real god level, the legendary realm that proudly overlooks all women. Okay, okay. In the end, Tsunade blushed and pulled Linyi away. Why are you so clingy today? She didn't mind her younger brother hugging her for a while, but Jiqian's strange behavior. Even the young elite Jonin of Konoha village, Tsunade, who has the ability to shoot shadows, can't hold on. Linyi smiled, didn't speak, just looked at Tsunade quietly. Seeing Linyi looking at her all the time, Tsunade couldn't help touching his face. What's wrong? You keep looking at me. Is there something on my face? A little bit. Linyi nodded. Tsunade was a little flustered, touched his face with both hands, and asked, what's there? Even Jonin has received a lot of training to endure harsh environments, but still no woman likes to have dirt on her face. Linyi smiled and said, it's kinda pretty. Tsunade was taken aback for a moment, then chuckled, okay, Linyi, you can tease your sister now. But it's also good, this saves my sister from worrying that you won't find a girlfriend in the future. Tsunade smiled, the Senju family is thin, especially now, only Linyi and himself are left with the real first-generation bloodline. Although as a girl, it's kind of weird to say that. But if possible, Tsunade really wants Linyi to be a wild stallion. Best, the kind that gave birth to 17 or 18 sons. Only in this way can the Senju clan prosper. By the way, Linyi. Tsunade smiled and said, don't forget to go to school. Yes. Linyi shrugged, he had to go to school after crossing, this is really. Don't be so lazy. Tsunade smiled and said, although the things taught by the teachers in the school are not very good, there are many beautiful girls in the school. Tsunade clenched his fist and encouraged. Come on. You carry the hope of growing the Senju clan. The corner of Linyi's mouth twitched, forgetting to glance at Tsunade. Combined with other ninja girls, the baby born will make Senju's blood impure. So. For the growth of the Senju clan, sister, shouldn't you sacrifice something? The ninja school has existed since the first generation, and the location has never changed. Linyi yawned and walked into the school. Before entering the class, he heard a bright and sunny voice. Linyi, why didn't you come to school yesterday? Linyi has a glance, blonde hair, sunny smile, gentle face. This little boy is Linyi's classmate, the future 4th Hokage, Namikaze Minato. Chapter 3 Do you know whose woman you are seducing? Chapter 3 Do you know whose woman you are seducing? Linyi, why didn't you come to school yesterday? Namikaze Minato said with a gentle smile. There was something wrong yesterday. Linyi said casually, he couldn't say that he crossed time yesterday, and he had to go to school if he didn't realize it for a while, could he? But Minato came just in time, Linyi said sternly. By the way, Minato, I need your help with something. Help? Minato blinked. As a direct descendant of the Senju family, Linyi has far more resources than Minato, so he probably has already learned ninjutsu. Need help yourself? I want you to teach me the 3-body technique. Linyi said seriously. Minato. 3-body technique, the basic ninjutsu in the basics, almost no ninja knows it, and even most ninjas do not regard 3-body technique as ninjutsu. Because this is too low level. At this time, it was still during World War II, even the ninjas who were teachers in the ninja school were genin who came down from the battlefield. And the students of ninja school strive for excellence, all kinds of foundation must be solid, otherwise becoming a ninja will be a death sooner or later. Unlike the schools in the later period where you can learn 3-body technique, the ninja school at this time will really teach some ninjutsu, although most of the teachers will teach you a few low-level ninjutsu because they think you are good. but it does teach some. Many people know even some low-level ninjutsu, not to mention the basic three-body technique. At present, in Minato and Mikato's class, there is no one who can't understand the three-body technique. Oh, except for Lin Yi. What's the matter, Lin Yi? You still don't know three-body technique? It seemed that the news was so shocking that even the students next to him came over in surprise. Lin Yi glanced. It was a girl wearing a light purple ninja suit, with exquisite eyebrows and eyes like a pool of clear water, with a beautiful face and jade-like skin, like a touch of clear ice and snow. She has a good figure, and although she is superior to girls of her age, it is not her best feature. The most outstanding thing is the gentle temperament. Beautiful appearance, elegant and generous. Mikato, there's no way, what you can't know is just not able to. Lin Yi shrugged. That's right, this gentle little Lolita is Uchiha Mikato. Even at a young age, he has already shown his own unique style. Didn't you listen to what the teacher said in class? Mikato blinked and said. I vaguely remember the teacher said. And then? Then I clearly remembered that I didn't listen at the time. Mikato, Minato. Lin Yi spread his hands. What can he do? He is also very helpless. In the system, there are Konoha fluid technique, fire style great fireball technique, and earth style earth flow wall. It basically covers the three major aspects of ping-a, attack and defense, but lacks the most basic three-body technique for ninjas. The result is the ninjutsu that Naruto can do at the tail of a crane, but Lin Yi doesn't know it yet. By the way, Mikato, your three-body technique seems to be pretty good, teach me later. Lin Yi leaned over and said. Okay, but didn't you ask Minato to teach you just now? Oh, he's such a waste, I'm afraid he can't teach well, so I want you to help me too. Minato, the top student in the school. Although little boy is very cute, but instead of letting little boy teach himself, it is better to let the pink and cute little loli teach. But Minato is Minato after all. Although Lin Yi made fun of him, he still gave Lin Yi his notes on three-body technique. Lin Yi looked at Minato's three-body technique notes and began to learn three-body technique. Although the infinite skill points are good, you need to learn skills yourself to add them. But this is just a little trouble, the system only requires getting started. While looking at Minato's notes, Lin Yi went to ask little loli Mikato. Mikato is also very enthusiastic because he can get the satisfaction of being a teacher. The two get together after class, shoulder to shoulder, and teach little by little. Little Loli's daily teaching. Avi. Mikato also felt a little uncomfortable at first, and wanted to distance himself a bit, but Lin Yi said, if you get close, you can keep your voice down, so as not to affect others. Then she said something like, I don't want my classmates to know that I don't know the three-body technique. I don't know the three-body technique yet, it's embarrassing, and the kind little loli didn't say anything else. Isn't it just a little closer, and Renren will pass? However, there were a few hostile eyes staring at Lin Yi, full of anger. Damn Senju clan, seduce my Uchiha clan girl, and his target is. After school, Lin Yi walked home nonchalantly. When he passed a training ground, he was surrounded by 5 classmates. You are? Lin Yi narrowed his eyes slightly, and the boys in front of him had different images, but they were about the same age as him. However, there is a pattern on the clothes that looks like a table tennis racket. It's the Uchiha clan. Hey, boy of Senju, do you know who you are seducing? A tall man at the head said fiercely. That's a member of my Uchiha clan, the woman Fugaku-san likes. Chapter 4 Hanging Uchiha. Chapter 4 Hanging Uchiha. In other words, Fugaku arranged for you. Lin Yi looked at the 5 Uchiha tribesmen in front of him and frowned. Uchiha Fugaku is about 3 or 4 years older than Lin Yi, and he is also a genius. Naturally, it is impossible for him to stay in school like Naruto repeating a grade. But he also arranged for his younger brother to keep an eye on Mikoto. After all, Mikoto's identity is unusual. She is the granddaughter of the great elder of the Uchiha clan. This is also a rare boost for Fugaku, the son of the patriarch. Not to mention Mikoto is so pretty. Lin Yi, you know now. The tall Uchiha tribe leader snorted coldly. It's not too late to know now, next you. Before he finished speaking, Lin Yi yawned. Brain is sick. After finishing speaking, Lin Yi walked forward nonchalantly. The faces of the 5 Uchiha people turned red and they were furious. Senju family, you are courting death. Toast, don't eat, eat fine wine. With that said, let's do it. Although Lin Yi is the only direct bloodline of the Senju clan, they are also the Uchiha clan. So what if you do it? Could it be that he could receive any punishment in the clan? Whoever can defeat Senju will be rewarded by the elders of the clan. But compared to them, Lin Yi's movements are faster. Touch. With one step forward, the air circle spreads. A punch that created a strong wave of air had already landed on the tall man's lower abdomen, making a toothache sound. The clothes of the tall Uchiha family felt torn, and a string of disgusting vomit spewed out of his mouth, and the whole person flew far away. 5 Uchiha clans, 1 less. The eyes of the remaining 4 were dazed. They were also Lin Yi's classmates, but they never expected Lin Yi to strike so quickly, so decisively, so cruel. How is it possible that Takano, the tall Uchiha clan, did not perform much worse than the Senju clan in school? How to be hit by? Senju's family is alone, let's go together. One of the remaining 4 immediately yelled sternly, and then rushed forward first. As the Uchiha clan, even if they are placed in the ninja school, they are also one of the elites. Their physical training is even taught by outstanding ninjas in the clan, so they are not weak. But unfortunately, my Konoha fluid technique is already at full level. Fast forward. With one punch, one person was hit, causing him to fly backwards. With one kick, it swept across the 2 of them and blasted it against the wall, just like hanging a painting. A hand knife slashed a person's neck, and the person immediately rolled his eyes and fainted to the end. At this time, the Gaoya who was hit by Lin Yi at first raised his head from the severe vomiting. Then 5 people were found together, and he was the only one left. Takano. Lin Yi walked over with a gentle smile on the corner of his mouth. Play with me more, I just got something, I want to experiment more. Mikoto shuttles quickly across the house. As the elite of the Uchiha clan, his speed is definitely not slow. Even if he has not graduated, he still has the speed of genin level. But she still felt that she was moving so slowly. Damn it, Fugaku. Mikoto gritted his silver teeth, regretting in his heart. Just now she heard from a best friend that Uchiha Takano and others went to trouble Lin Yi because of themselves. This made her immediately run down the school, towards the Senju garrison, to the rescue. Hope nothing happens. Mikoto's eyes flickered with anger. She knew that the patriarch's son liked her, but she never thought that she would be targeted like this just by saying a few more words with Lin Yi. I'm not your personal belonging. Mikoto gritted his teeth and stepped forward quickly. Lin Yi's route home is basically a straight line from the school to Senju's residence, and with the tracking skills of Jonin, it is not difficult to find Lin Yi. But I'm afraid it's too late. Although the Uchiha clan is arrogant, but they have the capital of arrogance, and there are so many people, even if Lin Yi is a member of the Senju clan, I'm afraid. However, when she was on her way, she suddenly heard a few painful groans, and when she took a closer look, she couldn't help but stare beautifully. Lin Yi held a person in his hand, and a group of people lay on the ground upside down, screaming in pain. The leader, Uchiha Takano, had his eyes closed and passed out. Lin Yi, you. Mikoto stood there dumbfounded. Chapter 5 The revival of the Senju family depends on you. First update, all kinds of requests. Chapter 5 The revival of the Senju family depends on you. First update, all kinds of requests. Mikoto, you are here. Looking at the beautiful figure, Lin Yi smiled, left a Uchiha clansman behind, and walked over. Don't worry, I'm very serious. Not a single one died. Look, isn't that very serious? In fact, Lin Yi didn't expect that Konoha fluid technique, the most basic skill, could be so powerful after reaching the full level. In the beginning, he used a slightly heavier hand, but later on he used the lightest force. But just like this, Lin Yi didn't shed a drop of sweat, and beat him to a serious injury abruptly, as easily as Lao Zi beat his son. You know, this is just the most basic in-game character skill. You're fine, it's fine. Mikoto breathed a sigh of relief, and then a look of surprise flashed in his eyes. I didn't expect you to be so strong. The Uchiha clan is not weak, even the students of the ninja school. It's so, it all depends on the background of the classmates. Lin Yi rubbed his nose and said with a smile. Hey, do you mean that the classmate is too weak? I am also your classmate. Mikoto rolled his eyes at Lin Yi, although he was still young, but that touch of style still fascinated people. Even the wailing Uchiha clansmen on the ground were a little stunned. It took a while to react to the stimulation of pain and start wailing again. Lin Yi shrugged, well, I was wrong. It all depends on the opponent's blind waves. He dared to wave on his own head, courting death. Pooh. Mikoto smiled like a million flowers springing to spring. With tears in their eyes and gritted teeth, the Uchiha people who watched Mikoto and Lin Yi leave were full of resentment. Damn adulterer and whore, wait for Fugaku-san to come back after finishing his mission. Parting from Mikoto, Lin Yi returned to Senju Station. Unlike Hokaga and Uchiha, which have a large number of people, the Senju clan is sparsely populated, and the size of the place is no less than that of the Uchiha clan, but there are only Lin Yi and Tsunade, plus a few guards of thin blood. Even cooking has to be done by Tsunade himself. So the result is. After Lin Yi looked at the plates of dark unknown products on the table, he silently put down his chopsticks. Sister, do you want to murder your own brother so that you can inherit my brother's wealth? Tsunade blushed pretty, and quibbled, no way, Lin Yi, you have to know that ninja is a hard job, and we often have to endure difficult environments. Food or something, as long as it can satisfy consumption, no matter what taste you have to eat. Sister, I am training your endurance as a ninja. That's right, that's it. At the end, even Tsunade himself seemed to believe it, nodding repeatedly. Lin Yi rightward arrow underscore rightward arrow, oh then the underwear you throw away is also designed to create a messy environment for yourself, so that you can exercise your endurance. Tsunade froze, throwing underwear, yeah, I won't talk about what's going on in your room, the problem is that some underwear can already fly out of the window. Lin Yi sighed, sister, if I hadn't thrown those underwear back along the window, I'm afraid it would have caused several big news. For example, shock. The princess of the dignified Senju family, her private life is actually Tsunade blushed even more, lowered her head, and said nothing. Although she has a bit of a carefree personality, it's okay for her brother to throw things like underwear back. Thinking of picking it up, the pure white object seemed to have a mixture of alcohol and female fragrance. Lin Yi didn't feel any wavering in his heart. Just inexplicable thought. Shizun her, so poor. After a few mouthfuls, Lin Yi secretly made two decisions after eating. 1. Take 2 Bingliang pills to fill your stomach later. 2. Let me cook in the future, this poor sister is unreliable. By the way, sister, teach me some ninjutsu. Lin Yi thought for a while, and then offered to speak. In terms of ninjutsu, he has already added the skills except Sage Body to the full level, and it is time to learn new skills. There are unlimited skill points, so you should make good use of them. Ninjutsu. Tsunade bent down to clean up the dishes, showing graceful lines, and casually said to Kaido, "Didn't I just teach you an earth-style technique? I have learned it? Not only have I learned it, but I have reached the full level." So fast. Tsunade frowned, raised his head, and said sternly, "Lin Yi, every ninjutsu is the crystallization of the wisdom of the predecessors, and it doesn't mean that you can learn it if you can perform it. Use the least chakra, use the greatest power, and even when and what kind of ninjutsu is a science. Don't be so ambitious." Her words are very serious, and in fact they are. Either there are many ninjutsu, the power of ninjutsu is great, or it is strong. Lin Yi also understands her thoughts, but I have cheating. Lin Yi said, "Sister, how about this, let's go to the training ground, I will show you my learning situation, and then you can decide whether to teach me or not." Tsunade hesitated, then nodded. Anyway, she has to give advice on her younger brother's training, so it's okay to just take a look. But suddenly, Tsunade's expression turned serious. In the next second, her figure disappeared from the room. Blinking technique. Lin Yi narrowed his eyes slightly, he almost couldn't see the speed just now. However, he didn't respond. Judging from Tsunade's performance, it is likely that Umbu sent the order. Sure enough, it didn't take long before Tsunade walked straight into his room and came out fully armed. "Sorry, Lin Yi, you can train yourself later, my sister has a task, ninjutsu, wait until I get back." Task. Lin Yi frowned. There was a happy smile on Tsunade's face. The mission is top secret, so you can't just tell it to outsiders. But this time my sister makes an exception and tells you that it is an escort mission. Lin Yi was taken aback. Escort mission? Well, escort our distant relatives, the Uzumaki clan, to Konoha. With a smile on the corner of Tsunade's mouth, he patted Lin Yi's shoulder vigorously, and said solemnly, "Lin Yi, after my sister and I bring her, it's time for you to appear. You must charm that little girl and let her have more children. The revival of the Senju clan depends on you." Chapter 6 Full Level Immortal Body Second Update, Various Requests. Chapter 6 Full Level Immortal Body Second Update, All Kinds of Requests. The next day, Lin Yi went to school calmly, not caring at all that he beat 5 Uchiha people like that yesterday. In fact, I don't care much about it, let alone ninja is not a peaceful profession. As far as the background alone is concerned, Lin Yi is not afraid of anything. Are you of the Uchiha family? I'm still a Senju clan. My sister is the head of the Senju clan. The only pity is that ninjutsu is missing. Lin Yi shrugged, thinking helplessly. Ninjutsu is not that simple, and it may even be dangerous if no one teaches it. But he didn't particularly care about it, anyway, he still had something to learn. Looking at the teacher lecturing above, Lin Yi entered today's study. The teachers at the ninja school teach very basic things, including 3-body technique, shuriken technique, secret sign gestures, sneaking methods, tracking techniques, etc. Although it is not advanced knowledge, it is very practical. Unfortunately, this kind of thing shouldn't be considered a skill. Lin Yi thought to himself. That's fine with shuriken skills, and it's unlikely that things like secret signs and gestures will appear in his skill bar no matter how he thinks about it. He also listened to knowledge about codes and the like, in case he didn't understand his companion's meaning, and started to study the 3-body technique seriously for the rest. Other knowledge who needs that kind of thing, with powerful skills, just go over there in a wave. Can't win if you can't beat it, just Krypton gold skills. Learn what to do with those useless things. However, learning ninjutsu is not that simple. Although it is the most basic 3-body technique, but in the future, the little Sakuras of Naruto went to school for 6 years, and the skills they finally brought out after graduation are only these 3. Although there are reasons why they have not opened the hook, still need to learn basic characters and other knowledge of ninjas, exercise and other factors consume time. But it's not that easy to learn. It's best to learn the shadow clone technique as soon as possible. This is also a failure. Lin Yi thought to himself. Shadow clone can greatly increase the speed of learning ninjutsu, allowing Lin Yi to fully utilize the efficiency of skill points. Although it needs to consume a lot of chakra, it is not unbearable for Lin Yi of the Senju clan. Speaking of which, my immortal body hasn't reached the full level yet. Lin Yi aimed his gaze at the skill bar. Add a bit. Immortal body. The current level is increased to LVMAX, and the additional status longevity is obtained. The second after the upgrade was over, Lin Yi felt warm and full of energy, as if he had just slept for 3 full days and 3 nights. Longevity, your vitality is beyond people's imagination, with at least 1,000 years of lifespan. Both the Uzumaki family and the Senju family have a long lifespan, far exceeding the abilities of other ninjas, but within the limits of mortals. And Lin Yi. Direct millennium. That's right, although it's not immortal, it's quite powerful. Lin Yi's eyes flashed with excitement. Now Lin Yi. Konoha fluid technique LVMAX, fire style great fireball technique LVMAX, earth style earth flow wall LVMAX, immortal body LVMAX. The strength of the immortal body is unquestionable, and Lin Yi's efficiency in listening to lectures has increased a bit with his abundant energy. Although he still has to learn the 3-body technique honestly. Afterwards, Lin Yi kept on, taking classes, teasing Mikoto, daily Black Minato, and learning the rhythm of 3-body technique by the way, until one day after school, when passing by Konoha No. 17 theater, a sharp voice sounded. Brother Fugaku, he is the one who seduced Mikoto while you were away. Lin Yi looked over and saw that the Uchiha people who had been beaten by him a few days ago surrounded a proud young man, and one of the Uchiha people was pointing at himself. That young man, with a slashed face, fierce eyes, full of arrogance, is obviously Uchiha Fugaku. I've heard of you. Before Lin Yi could speak, Fugaku snorted proudly, the last direct bloodline of the Senju clan. With your identity and strength, you are not bad in Konoha. But as a ninja, you should understand, don't provoke enemies you can't afford. After all, his eyes suddenly became sharp. Since the Senju clan, which used to be as famous as my Uchiha clan, has declined to this point, I'll give you bastard, what are you doing? Before he finished speaking, Fugaku was furious. Because Lin Yi didn't listen to his eloquent words at all, he just yawned and kept walking. Move forward. Several younger brothers were also furious and scolded one after another. Brother Fugaku is talking to you. Didn't you hear? Brother Fugaku is Chinin. Correct your attitude. Senju clan, don't you even know the most basic respect for seniors? Lin Yi paused and glanced at Fugaku. Hello senior, goodbye senior. Then just keep going. Fugaku suddenly flew into a rage. Good boy, today I will teach you how to respect your predecessors. After all, he posed a Konoha fluid technique's opening move. Chapter 7 Forget it, let's kill it. Third update, all kinds of requests. Chapter 7 Forget it, let us beat it to death. The third update, all kinds of requests. In fact, although Fugaku is angry, he still has basic reason. Ninja is a fighting profession, no one will care about a little friction, and fighting is commonplace. But that is for peers. I am already a chunin, and I am 3 or 4 years older than Lin Yi, so it would be unreasonable to make trouble in this situation. Although the Senju clan is lonely, Tsunade is a real strongman. If that one really freaks out, even if he is the son of the head of the Uchiha clan, it will not be easy. But if it is said that the seniors are instructing the juniors on physical skills, then it is barely justified. Especially the fact that Lin Yi defeated his younger brother with physical skills before, gave him a good excuse. I see that you have good physical skills, so I specially come to give you pointers. Without hesitation, Fugaku rushed forward. Although Lin Yi defeated his younger brother, he was not worried that he would lose. I am Chinin, participated in many missions, and even killed more than one enemy senior. Leave Hurricane. Attack the enemy with whirlwind legs at high speed, although the range is large, the power is also great. Moreover, after the whirlwind legs of the lower plate force it into the air, it cannot withstand the next second blow. The second kick, if you can hit it, then it's over. Boom. In the next second, a figure flew out and was kicked in the abdomen. Everyone's eyes widened. It was Fugaku who was kicked away. How is it possible? Fugaku's eyes widened, struggling to get up. I was kicked away. He is Chinin. Lin Yi shrugged, there is nothing impossible. You are Chinin, and your physical skills are not weak. But my Konoha fluid technique is at full level. Fugaku gritted his teeth and rushed over in disbelief. Konoha bad rock rise. Boom. He was hit in the center of the mouth by an elbow from Lin Yi, and he couldn't breathe for a while. Leave great whirlwind. Boom. He was thrown in the face by Lin Yi's palm, and he turned around 3 times. Impossible. See how I deal with you. Boom. The younger brothers of the Uchiha clan were all dumbfounded. Uchiha Fugaku is also a genius in the Uchiha family. Uchiha Fugaku, who has already been promoted to Chunin at a young age, has no power to fight back. His physique is actually so strong. It turns out that your physical skills are so strong. Very good, you are indeed the Senju clan that can be tied with my Uchiha clan. After being beaten for the nth time, Fugaku finally woke up from his pride. He took a deep breath and looked directly at Lin Yi, with a rare look of seriousness in his eyes. Although the bruised nose and swollen face ruined the dignified feeling. The taijutsu of the Senju family is indeed not weak. Your sister is also a master of Konoha taijutsu. I am too proud this time. He stood up with a serious expression on his face. Even the original Uchiha Madara was suppressed by first generation in physical skills. Tsunade, the contemporary Senju patriarch, is even more famous for his strange power. The advantages of the Senju family sage body are too great. But I'm from the Uchiha clan. Fugaku took a deep breath, then opened his eyes suddenly. The little brothers were taken aback for a moment, and then suddenly showed surprise on their faces. That is, unexpectedly. As expected of brother Fugaku, you actually opened your eyes. And it's sang Gautama. In Fugaku's pupils, 3 Tomo's appearance flashed impressively. 3 Tomo Sharinan. In front of my eyes, even Senju's taijutsu is meaningless. Then, he rushed towards Linyi again. The younger brothers burst out with confidence again. I can win this time. We will definitely win. Brother Fugaku has opened his eyes. Brother Fugaku, teach that Senju family a lesson. Before the words were finished, the words of the younger brothers stopped abruptly. Because a figure was kicked back again. How is it possible? Fugaku was stunned for a long time, and then rushed over again. Boom. I have opened my eyes. Boom. No. I don't believe it. Boom. After being kicked for the 7th time and rolled 3 times, Fugaku finally became angry and didn't care about anything anymore. You are courting death. On his body, chakras surged, and at the same time, his hands quickly formed seals. This is. Brother Fugaku is going to perform ninjutsu. The dull faces of the younger brothers finally changed color. This is no joke. It doesn't matter if you fight in taijutsu, but if you hit a ninjutsu, you may die. Brother Fugaku. Shut up. Fugaku was furious, and the chakra on his body became more and more surging. But looking at his seal, a strange expression appeared on Linyi's face, with a bit of pity in his eyes. This look was seen by Fugaku, and he opened his mouth angrily. Hey! What does that look mean? Are you using the great fireball technique? Yes, if you don't want to die, just kneel down and beg me, and I can spare your life. Linyi. He thought the kid was a bit pitiful at first, and was still thinking about whether to make him lose less ugly. Check it out now. Forget it, Fugaku or something, let's kill it. So, his hand also moved. Seeing that the seal is also impressive, the great fireball technique. Chapter 8. Are you worthy of your blood? 1000 favorites plus more. Chapter 8. Is your bloodline worthy of 1000 favorites plus more? Sealing style, Si Wei Shen Hai Nun Yin. Uchiha Fugaku and Linyi formed madras at the same time, and the chakra kept surging. But Fugaku's eyes showed a hint of shame and anger. Senju's kid, how dare you bully me like this? Great fireball technique is a very practical ninjutsu among sea-level ninjutsu, so it is widely spread, but as the Uchiha clan, this is the first time he has seen someone who dares to compete with him in fire style. You know, the family emblem on the back of the Uchiha family is the Uchiha fan. The round fan can be used to fan the wind and increase the temperature of the flame, which symbolizes the clan members' proficient use of fire-style ninjutsu. Therefore, the round fan is not only its family emblem, but also a symbol of its good at fire style, implying the round fan that manipulates the flame, known as the round fan Uchiha. And now, a student who is still in Jonin's school, dare to compete with him, a Chunin, a direct descendant of the Uchiha clan, in fire-style court death. Without hesitation, he suddenly increased chakra's output. The faces of the boys behind him changed drastically. Ninjutsu is not physical art. If you hit it, you will die. And even if you want to keep your hands at the last moment, you may not have time. What's more, what about the aggressive ninjutsu that is famous for its practicality? However, the speed of completion of those few marks was already very fast. Uchiha Fugaku suddenly took a deep breath, and then expelled it in one gulp. Fire style, great fireball technique. Fire style, great fireball technique. Two fiery fireballs roared out, burning in all directions. Hey, wait, why are there two and the one opposite? Why is it so big, 10 times bigger than the Fugaku side, right? Boom. The two fireballs collided, and almost instantly, the fireball released by Linyi devoured Fugaku's fireball, and then blasted towards Fugaku unabated. Fugaku was stunned. Why did he perform ninjutsu at the same time as me, even though he was in the back seal? Why am I obviously a fire-style genius of the Uchiha clan, but my fireball is so much smaller than his? Why? Brother Fugaku. Boom. The flames were boiling, flames were everywhere, and the vast sea of flames covered the entire training ground. The wooden golem and other equipment on the training ground were simply burned to ashes. How? It's possible. Fugaku was not dead yet. When he was in a daze, the younger brothers hugged him regardless of safety, and rushed to the side. Although the eyebrows and hair were almost scorched in the hot environment, the person was still alive. It's just the image is too ugly. But at this time, Fugaku, who always pays attention to his image, didn't care about such things at all. He just stared blankly at the training ground that had turned into a sea of flames, with a dull expression, unable to speak for a long time. This level of power is really caused by a small C-level ninjutsu class A ninjutsu. No, an ordinary S-rank ninjutsu is nothing more than that, right? Compared with this kind of shock, Linyi, a small ninja student who can release C-level ninjutsu great fireball, is not worth mentioning at all. He froze for a long time, and finally raised his head in a daze. To be able to crush my own Chunin with ease, at least he has the strength of a special Jonin, then. How is he still in ninja school? Uchiha Fugaku couldn't help asking, Linyi. You have such strength, why are you still in the ninja school? What else can you learn there? Linyi said confidently, of course, such as three-body technique or something. Fugaku. You said, Uchiha Fugaku of the Uchiha clan, never beat Linyi. Hokage's office, 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen paused slightly with his pipe-holding hand. If I remember correctly, Uchiha Fugaku seems to have advanced to Chunin. The Umbu ninja knelt there and said in a low voice, yes, although it is a Chunin who has just been promoted not long ago, but from the perspective of strength, it is completely above the ordinary Chunin. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded, son of the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, even he often pays attention. But he couldn't help but said, Linyi is still a student of ninja school. Yes, although he is approaching the age of graduation, he is indeed still a student. Students from the school, they beat Chunin, and they are still Chunin from the Uchiha clan. Sarutobi Hiruzen twitched his mouth, and couldn't help sighing, as expected of the teacher's blood. The bloodline of the Uchiha family is absolutely top-notch, and Fugaku's strength is so strong that even he has heard of it. However, he still lost to a ninja school student. As expected of the teacher's blood. For a moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression was a bit complicated. On the contrary, Umbu hesitated and asked, Master Hokage, do you need to let Linyi graduate early? This is an existence that can defeat a Chunin, wouldn't it be a waste to stay in school? No need. Before Umbu finished speaking, Sarutobi waved his hand and said, let him stay in the school. When he wants to graduate, he can graduate. Let him graduate, Tsunade won't agree. A few days later, several figures slowly walked into Konoha. Kushina, this is Konoha. Tsunade looked at the red-haired little loli next to him, showing a gentle smile. Well, let's hand in the task first, and then my sister will take you to eat something delicious. She smiled and said, it's not good to be hungry. Well, the growth of the Senju clan in the future may depend on this little girl. How can you give birth to a child when you are starving at least 5.no? Considering the strong vitality of the Uzumaki family, wouldn't there be more than a dozen that are worthy of your blood? Chapter 9 Konoha-san in first update, all kinds of requests. Chapter 9 Konoha-san in first update, all kinds of requests. Clone technique. The current level is upgraded to LVMAX, and the additional status likeness is obtained. Spiritual resemblance. Your double is more similar to you and indistinguishable from each other. Transformation technique. The current level is increased to LVMAX, and the additional state shape is obtained. Similarity. Your transformation will be more similar to the target, indistinguishable from each other. Body replacement technique. The current level is increased to LVMAX, and the additional status super speed substitute is obtained. Super speed double. You can double the nearby items at a faster speed. After a long period of study, Lin Yi finally learned the 3-body technique, and then directly upgraded it to the full level. During this period, Minato contributed a lot. He carefully instructed Lin Yi 3-body technique, lent him his notes without reservation, and explained many key points carefully. But Lin Yi thinks that Mikato's contribution is the biggest. If it wasn't for the company of such a beautiful girl, maybe Lin Yi would have fallen asleep while listening to Minato's class. The 3-body technique is difficult to say, but simple to say. As one of the most basic ninjutsu, almost no ninja will not know it. But don't forget, before Naruto graduated and obtained the sealed book, he also knew these 3 ninjutsu. Fortunately, after Lin Yi has a fairy body, chakra is extremely abundant, and Minato, although young, has a good understanding of the 3-body technique. After about half a month of study, he finally learned these 3 ninjutsu. The additional states are basically the type of enhanced ninjutsu, not as fierce as the longevity of the immortal body, but it is still practical. Today, Lin Yi strolled home as usual. Since Fugaku was defeated by him, the road has been smooth. It is said that on the second day after Fugaku was defeated by him, the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, that is, his father, rushed into the Konoha hospital with a cold face, grabbed Fugaku by force and left, and then arranged a lot of training for him. By the way, this news comes from Mikato, who can't understand Fugaku. Mikato rarely used a gloating voice to promote this kind of gossip. He was so happy that he even ate 2 extra bowls of rice. The second bowl was a gift from Lin Yi. Lin Yi walked to Senju's residence, and before he entered the door, he heard a voice of displeasure. Damn it, the Uzumaki family is obviously a distant relative of my Senju family. Why doesn't the teacher let her come to my house? Sister Lin Yi was taken aback for a moment, then walked a few steps quickly. Sure enough, Tsunade has returned, and is now holding a large wine bottle, gurgling several mouthfuls. At the same time, there are also guests at home. Tsunade, you have to understand the teacher's mind. Jiraiya persuaded. After all, Kushina wants to exist as a Jinchuriki. It is a secret among secrets, and it is normal to be protected. Master Mito can't hold on any longer. Maybe at some point, the Jinchuriki sealing ceremony will be performed. There must be no accidents at this time. Orochimaru didn't say a word, just picked up the wine glass silently and took a sip. Lin Yi walked in and saw them immediately. Konoha Sunin. Although they haven't really won the title of Sunin today, but in terms of strength, they are the strongest new stars in Konoha. The task of finding Kushina before was done by them themselves. In fact, what Jiraiya said is very reasonable. Although there are indeed reasons why Danzo and others don't want Uzumaki and Senju to get too close, the main reason is indeed what he said. However, Tsunade heard the words, and stared over without saying a word. I am a Senju clan, a distant relative of the Uzumaki clan. Will I harm her? Will I reveal it? No, you will. Lin Yi, who had just entered the door, thought to himself. He hasn't forgotten what his sister said to him before he left for the mission. Secret mission. Before it was done, it had already been exposed. Orochimaru, who was drinking silently beside him, paused while holding the glass, and gave Tsunade a weird look. He didn't forget how kind his teammate was to Kushina when he protected Kushina home. Greetings, all kinds of concern, and at the same time, all kinds of Amway's own brother. In fact, Orochimaru felt that, looking at Tsunade's appearance, it would be more dangerous if Kushina really lived in Senju's residence. Maybe one day this teammate of mine drinks too much and can directly drug Lin Yi and Kushina. Anyway, she is a medical ninja, and she is a grandmaster in medicine and poison. Of course, not a single punctuation mark of Orochimaru would give away this thought. He slightly turned his head to watch Lin Yi walk in, showing a slightly cold smile. It's Lin Yi. I heard you defeated Chunin's Uchiha Fugaku earlier. You are indeed a genius of the Senju clan. Chapter 10 I can be Jinchuriki for you. Second update, all kinds of requests. Chapter 10 I can be Jinchuriki for you. Second update, all kinds of requests. Orochimaru is a person with a pale complexion and a cold aura exuding from his whole body. But even he showed a smile when facing Lin Yi. No other, this is Tsunade's younger brother. The current son-in relationship is quite good, a bit similar to Naruto's class. Although they all have personalities, they care about each other very much. Among other things, Orochimaru knew that Lin Yi defeated Fugaku just after they came back. Although he looked cold, he still cared about Lin Yi. Well, at least for now. Lin Yi also showed a smile. Hey, Lin Yi defeated Fugaku, well done. Tsunade hiccuped and smiled, as expected of the blood of my Senju family, defeating Uchiha is just as it should be. On the contrary, Jiraiya glanced at Lin Yi in surprise. Although he drank a lot, he was not drunk yet. Fugaku is Chunin, the son of the head of the Uchiha clan. And Lin Yi is just a student of ninja school. This talent. While Tsunade was happy, Lin Yi also took the opportunity to interject, Sister, I want to learn ninjutsu. Okay, what do you want to learn? I will teach you later. Tsunade said in a big way. I want to learn multiple shadow clone techniques. Lin Yi's mouth moved, but he still didn't say the words in the end. Multiple shadow clone is an A-level ninjutsu. Even if Tsunade is drunk, he will not teach him casually. That's one of the forbidden techniques after all. In the end Lin Yi had no choice but to say. I want to learn medical ninjutsu. He has the great fireball technique for attack and the earth flow wall for defense, but he doesn't have the ninjutsu to increase blood. Okay, my sister will teach you tomorrow. Tsunade promised, patting Yuji's chest. Although Tsunade was a little happier because of the good news of Lin Yi's success, Jiraiya and Orochimaru were still trying to appease Tsunade in general. Because of Third Hokage's refusal, Tsunade was still a little sullen. Hope she can understand what the teacher thinks. Jiraiya sighed. He had no choice but to try his best to persuade. In fact, he didn't quite understand Third Hokage's decision. Although Tsunade does have some careful thoughts, isn't it a good thing for Konoha that the Senju clan grows stronger? It's okay for Danzo and the others to resist, why the teacher also? But I've comforted her for so long, there shouldn't be any problems. Jiraiya said confidently, after all, he is Tsunade's teammate. Then walk out the gate of the Senju garrison with Orochimaru. Lin Yi sent them off instead of Tsunade, and went back to clean up the mess for Tsunade. Then I saw my sister, who was supposed to be lying down and sleeping in the room, strode over and grabbed Lin Yi, who was packing up her things. Sister! I can't stand this! Tsunade yelled, smelling of alcohol. The teacher won't let me bring Kushina home, so I'll take you to find her. Go. Let's find Kushina. As he said, he put Lin Yi on his shoulders, and carried Lin Yi away in a posture of resisting cargo. Lin Yi. It seems that Jiraiya's appeasement is of no use, you are a plastic flower. Team friendship. In fact, although no one has decided where Kushina lives, everyone knows where she is. First generation's wife, Tsunade's grandmother, Uzumaki Mito's neighborhood. Kushina came to Konoha to act as a Jinchuriki. The resident of the Senju clan, who are not distant relatives of the Uzumaki clan, would naturally live here. As the residents of Jinchuriki of Nine Tails, there are 5 steps to Ichigo guards, and 10 steps to 1 dark sentry. Ordinary jonin are not qualified to set foot here. However, as Mito's granddaughter and grandson, Tsunade and Lin Yi are naturally exceptions. Grandma, Mr. Sarutobi is bullying people. With the smell of alcohol, Tsunade rushed over the moment he saw Mito, threw himself into Mito's arms, and slandered Third Hokage while being coquettish. Only in front of her own grandmother, Konoha's Tsunade Heim can show such a little girl demeanor. Mito showed a gentle smile, stroked Tsunade's head, and spoke softly to comfort her. If it weren't for the guards around, this scene would really look like a scene of ordinary family members having fun with each other. However, Lin Yi didn't care about her sister's little girl's charm, but looked at a little girl next to Mito. The girl has bright red hair, beautiful appearance, jade-like skin, delicate eyebrows, and eyes like a pool of clear water, but a little red, apparently just cried not long ago. You are Kushina, right? Lin Yi thought for a while, then leaned over and said. Yeah, it's me. Kushina said with a bit of resentment, what's the matter with you? Obviously, at this time she has learned that she was brought here by Konoha just to make her the Jinchuriki of Nine Tails. This is definitely a huge blow to a little girl, and it is not surprising that there is even a bit of resentment. Lin Yi was not angry when he heard this, but just smiled and said. If you really don't want to, I can come and be a Jinchuriki for you, and you just have to live the life you like. In the next second, the room was instantly quiet. Chapter 11 How can I be more beautiful than your sister? Third update, all kinds of requests. Chapter 11 How could your sister look better than me? Third update, all kinds of requests. Can someone else be a Jinchuriki? Of course it is possible. Although the Uzumaki family has become the best candidates for sealing tailed beasts because of their excellent sealing skills and excellent physical fitness, it is not that there are no other people who are suitable. The Senju family is not much worse than the Uzumaki family. They are all very strong in physical fitness, and they are also feasible as containers for tailed beasts. Of course, the two are not the same family after all, and there are still differences. But must it be the most suitable? How did the tailed beasts in other villages be sealed? In fact, not only Lin Yi can seal the tailed beast, but Tsunade can too. But after hearing Lin Yi speak, Tsunade immediately stood up and said, no. Lin Yi, you can't be this Jinchuriki. Tsunade's face, which was still full of alcohol, instantly became extremely gloomy, This is not acceptable, absolutely not. Lin Yi smiled calmly, why can't I be? Do you know what will happen to you when you become this Jinchuriki? Tsunade's face was gloomy, even ignoring that his grandmother is Jinchuriki, and the next Jinchuriki is next to her, and said directly, you will be targeted by everyone and hated by the whole village. This Jinchuriki can't be. Sister, grandma is Jinchuriki. Lin Yi said flatly. Tsunade fumbled. Although it is true that Jinchuriki are not liked by anyone in any village, it is still in front of the present and the next generation of Jinchuriki to say so bluntly. She was still speechless. But Tsunade quickly reacted, Lin Yi, why do you want to be some kind of Jinchuriki? I don't want to be. Lin Yi smiled slightly, it's just. He glanced at Kushina who was staring blankly at him, and said with a smile, if she doesn't want to, then I'll do it. Except for me from the Senju clan, Konoha should not be more suitable to be a Jinchuriki other than her. Tsunade's face was a little ugly, and he was completely sober from the wine. Indeed, if nothing else is said, the Senju family is indeed second only to the Uzumaki family. And unlike Kushina, even though Danzo and others have been suppressing the Senju family, they still trust the Senju family, far better than Kushina who just came to Konoha. But things don't work out that way. How can my brother be something like a Jinchuriki? Don't worry, sister, I didn't say I'm going to be a Jinchuriki. Lin Yi smiled and turned to look at Kushina. I'm just saying, if she really doesn't want to, then I'll be Jinchuriki for her, that's all. When Kushina heard this, she suddenly raised her head and looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. She is a member of the Uzumaki family, and the Uzumaki family has also sealed many powerful beings. How could she not know what kind of impact people will suffer as a sealed container? Now, someone actually said that he would like to become a Jinchuriki for him. Lin Yi showed a smile. He has a slender body, and his handsome face has a soft arc under the faint sunlight. Don't worry, I'm here, no one can force you. Seeing this, Kushina's face turned red and she lowered her head. The voice also lowered a little bit. Kindness. Tsunade next to him, is my brother picking up girls? Is he picking up girls? Could it be that he likes this little girl? Thinking of this, Tsunade's complexion was a little bad. Although she had long wanted her younger brother to quickly turn into a bulldozer and build a big harem. Kushina is also one of the candidates for her siblings. But looking at Kushina's pretty face blushing, and her brother's vowed words. Why is there always a feeling in my heart that the cabbage I cultivated with great difficulty was stolen by other pigs? In any case, the first thing that needs to be resolved is that my younger brother may become a Jinchuriki. Ever since Tsunade decided to go in 2 steps, the first step is to intercede with Master Mito, and try hard to let Kushina replace Lin Yi as Jinchuriki. Second, teach Lin Yi ninjutsu as soon as possible, so that he can quickly have his own fighting system, preferably one that may delay his own strength if he has a tailed beast. So back home, Tsunade dragged Lin Yi to an operating room without saying a word. Come on, let's start with the most basic healing jutsu of medical ninjutsu. As he said that, he quickly took out a ninjutsu scroll, and at the same time ordered someone to send some fish as experimental materials. Seeing Tsunade, who was rushing to work, Lin Yi blinked and said, Sister, I have to go to class tomorrow. Tsunade waved his hand, no more, that poor teacher at ninja school, how can I look better than your sister? Lin Yi. Chapter 12 Wood Style. 2000 favorites plus more. Chapter 12 Wood Style. 2000 favorites plus more. Jinchuriki is indeed strong, but he also has a lot of troubles. He needs to suppress the tailed beast, suppress the cold emotions brought by the tailed beast chakra, and at the same time adapt to the battle system that has to be changed because of the hastily added chakra. This kind of change, for the stronger ninja, the greater the cost. Kakashi became a Jonin at the age of 12, but when Naruto graduated, he was just an elite Jonin. Of course there are reasons why he became decadent, but the reason why he needs to integrate Obito's Sharingan to form his own new combat system also occupies a certain proportion. There are so many future troubles, not to mention the hostility of the villagers after becoming a Jinchuriki, and it is a dagger that kills without blood. Tsunade has no way to forcibly lock Lin Yi and prevent him from being a Jinchuriki, but he can increase the weight of not being a Jinchuriki. Therefore, in order to make Lin Yi stronger as soon as possible, and become the kind of strength that may be weaker than before with a tailed beast, she rarely put aside all tasks, even forbidding Lin Yi to go to school, and personally teaching him he. As one of Konoha's Sunin, Tsunade has her own combat system. Even if she has not yet become a real cage-level master, it should not be underestimated. She has two abilities for which she is best known. 1. Strong medical capabilities. 2. Attack Wushuan's strange power. Medical ninjutsu guarantees her battery life and supports her in the face of thousands of troops. The strange power brings a powerful attack. Even if it faces a cage-level master, it will not fall behind. At the same time, the two still complement each other. The strange force requires chakra to accumulate power, and the sudden burst of skills is surprisingly large for the partial load on the body, but it will be compensated by the recovery power of medical ninjutsu. The foundation supporting this system is medical ninjutsu. Lin Yi is also very attentive in studying, and Tsunade is unreservedly giving advice, focusing on Lin Yi, asking questions and explaining at any time. I don't know how much stronger this attitude is than teaching the little Sakura in later generations. Natural learning is also very fast. Phew, I finally learned it. Lin Yi looked at the live fish in front of him, heaved a sigh of relief, and then unceremoniously chose to add points. Healing Jutsu. The current level is increased to LVMAX, and the additional status Accelerated Healing is obtained. Accelerated Healing, with a deeper understanding of medical ninjutsu, you can heal injuries faster. After thinking about it, he grabbed the fish casually and put it in a nearby tank. Tsunade should be doing daily training now. She is also a ninja. Daily training is essential, otherwise her strength will decline. Lin Yi didn't care, and started preparing dinner. Even going to school is suspended because of delaying his learning ninjutsu, but Lin Yi has to do the cooking himself. There is no way, let her sister cook. Lin Yi thinks it is more convenient for her to go directly to the Nara family to buy some poison. At least the taste should not be so bad. Lin Yi was cooking when he suddenly heard an exclamation. Then I saw Tsunade rushing over excitedly, even with a little green light in his eyes. Lin Yi, your fish, you come with me. After that, he grabbed Lin Yi's wrist and dragged him to a ward. Today is the early days of World War II, and there are still many years before Naruto's era. The technology has not developed much, but as the first person in Konoha Medical, Tsunade's exclusive ward has a bit of the high-tech style of later generations. She tied Lin Yi to the hospital bed and played a ward play. Then, looking at the examination results, he trembled all over, and the green light in his eyes was so strong that it could almost illuminate the ward. Ha ha! Lin Yi, your body. You actually have such a physique. Even I don't have this kind of activity, no, other than my grandfather, I have never seen it before. Tied to the hospital bed, Seeing Tsunade with Yinhong's complexion and heavy breathing, and violent fluctuations in his majesty before the fierce moon, Lin Yi finally realized that his immortal body had been discovered. Medical ninjutsu is essentially one's own chakra to stimulate the cell proliferation and repair of the other party, and the yang attribute chakra brought by the immortal body is full of strong vitality, which is fundamentally different from ordinary medical ninjutsu. Lin Yi, you wait for me here. Leaving such a sentence behind, Tsunade trembled the huge fruit, and quickly ran into the core area of Senju's garrison. Lin Yi tied to the hospital bed. After about half an hour, I could still hear a few rummaging sounds from time to time in the middle, and Tsunade remembered to put it here. Where did you go? The sound of, then, Tsunade finally ran back and handed him a slightly ancient scroll. Come on, Lin Yi, look at this. Tsunade's face was a little ashamed, but her eyes were full of expectation. Try and see if you can learn it. Lin Yi looked down and saw several large characters written on the scroll. Wood style wood clone. Woohoo, my baby is adding updates to the collection now. When can I add flowers, rewards, and evaluation tickets? I really want to add more to them. I beg the adults to give some flowers and tickets. Let me add the manuscript. Chapter 13 Kushina Enrollment First Update, All Kinds of Requests. Chapter 13 Kushina Enrollment First Update, All Kinds of Requests. After about another month, Lin Yi finally started school again. Lin Yi, you're back. Mikoto looked at him strangely. What's going on? Why did you leave school for so long? Oh, my sister came back and wanted to teach me some ninjutsu, so she took a leave of absence. Lin Yi laughed. After all, students are also ninjas. It is not surprising that they ask for leave to learn ninjutsu. Mikoto just nodded when he heard the words, skipped the matter of asking for leave, and then asked curiously, have you learned a new ninjutsu? What kind of ninjutsu? It's wood style wood clone. Lin Yi smiled at the corner of his mouth, but said, healing jutsu of medical ninjutsu, and Tsunade's younger brother after all, he must know some medical ninjutsu, right? Obviously I don't like medical ninjutsu very much, but Sister Tsunade always forces me to learn. In fact, during this period of leave, Lin Yi not only learned the healing jutsu of medical ninjutsu, but also learned wood style wood clone. The next second after he cast wood clone, Tsunade watched, burst into tears and cried out loudly. There is hope for Senju. Wood style, known as the strongest ninjutsu in the ninja world, is the symbol of the Senju clan. It's a pity that since the first Hokage Senju Hashirama, no one has been able to cast it again. And now, she finally sees a second person who can cast wood style. However, after the excitement, Tsunade quickly reacted and immediately prohibited Lin Yi from using wood style ninjutsu at will. He even made up an excuse of Tsunade doesn't like his younger brother's inability to medical ninjutsu, why he asked for leave during this period of time. The reason is simple. There are some people in Konoha who don't want another wood style ninja from Senju. Lin Yi has only learned wood style now, but his strength cannot protect him. Tsunade himself is unlikely to be by Lin Yi's side all the time, so it's better to use it as a whole card. At the same time, wood clone was also upgraded to full level by Lin Yi without hesitation. Wood style wood clone, the current level is upgraded to LVMAX, and the additional status long lasting clone is obtained. Long lasting clone, the duration of your clone will be greatly extended. When the avatar is summoned, even if he is not allowed to do any actions, it will continue to consume chakra. However, after adding this state, it can stay outside for a long time, and the consumption is greatly reduced, almost equal to nothing. Of course, Mikoto didn't know about this kind of thing, she just sighed. I really envy you, you have a sister who likes to teach you ninjutsu so much. I also want to learn some ninjutsu, but mom and dad always have tasks. Lin Yi just smiled lightly and didn't answer. On the other hand, Minato couldn't help casting envious glances. Lin Yi is instructed by Tsunade. Mikoto's grandfather is the chief elder of the Uchiha clan, and his parents are also jonin. Although he is busy with tasks, he will also seriously teach her ninjutsu. As for Minato, although he has good grades and strength, he has nothing but the teacher at school seeing him doing well and teaching him a great fireball technique. Mikoto feels that her parents always have tasks, so they can't teach her more. From Minato's point of view, this is the trouble of happiness. Lin Yi smiled lightly. As a man of 2 lifetimes, he naturally saw Minato's thoughts. Do you think I'll tell you that there are 10 wood clone learning ninjutsu for me in the Senju resident right now? Lin Yi glanced at Minato and thought to himself. As a time traveler, he is naturally aware of Naruto's clone. And wood clone can also learn ninjutsu. Although it consumes a little more chakra, Lin Yi, who has a fairy body, doesn't care about that chakra at all. His chakra, estimated in the most conservative way, is more than 10 times more than Naruto's chakra. In fact, he can create more avatars, and even let the avatars go to school for him. But Tsunade was worried that wood style would be exposed, so he didn't let the avatar learn from him at all. In fact, not to mention learning from the avatar, she was even worried that someone would see something from Lin Yi's leave. Not long after Lin Yi learned wood clone, he kicked Lin Yi back to school, and even learned ninjutsu from the avatar at home. Don't give too many points. 10 avatars are hiding in the Senju resident to learn ninjutsu, just right? Thinking of her persecution paranoia look, Lin Yi sighed. Wood style means so much to Senju that she dare not even take the slightest risk for fear of any accident. But perhaps Tsunade is not a persecution paranoia, but a real. Shaking his head, Lin Yi started the class. The teacher walked in quickly, but instead of immediately starting to lecture as usual, he said, "Students, a classmate is inserted into our class today." After finishing speaking, he turned his head and said to the door, "Come on, come in." Soon, a little girl walked in from the door. She had exquisite eyes, fair skin, and was wearing a ninja grid uniform. She also had dark red hair, which was eye-catching. My name is Uzumaki Kushina. Chapter 14 Stuffing Second More, All Kinds of Requests. Chapter 14 Stuffing Second More, All Kinds of Requests. My name is Uzumaki Kushina. Kushina always speaks with a strange idiosyncrasy, a bit like a mantra, a bit like a habit, roughly similar to the local dialect and dialect of the Celestial Dynasty. Although she also knew that talking like this was not right, but habits are habits because they are not so easy to change. As soon as Kushina spoke, her face turned red and she covered her mouth. There was a sudden burst of laughter in the class. What's that sentence after that, countryman? Look at the color of that hair. Ha ha ha. How can I become so red? A round face and red hair. Teach him tomatoes starting today. Hearing Kushina's words, her complexion was inevitably a bit gloomy, and she couldn't help touching her hair. The Uzumaki family is all red-haired. In fact, red hair is weird, but when the Uzumaki family was still around, no one would mock this. But now, the Uzumaki clan has been wiped out. Mocking her red hair is not only a personal attack, but also a heartache for the demise of the Uzumaki family. Kushina clenched her fists, clenched her teeth, and bowed her head. Suddenly, a faint voice came from the classroom. "Isn't this a beautiful red?" Linyi smiled lightly, and glanced around. "If you are jealous, you can dye your hair in private. What are you jealous about here?" Ha! The classmate who was mocking just now widened his eyes. "I envy her." I was sarcasm. Okay, but Linyi didn't care about those indifferent classmates. He just glanced at Kushina and said with a smile, "Kushina, long time no see. You've come to school too?" "Well." Kushina blushed and nodded slightly. "All right, we'll be classmates from today." Linyi smiled and said, "You haven't finished your self-introduction yet, have you? When the introduction is over, would you like to sit by my side?" As he said that, he calmly glanced at the classmates who had just sneered, and those who were still smiling suddenly didn't dare to speak. Linyi sent several Uchiha clansmen, including Fugaku, to the hospital, including 5 classmates of the Uchiha clan. Although he didn't deliberately bully men and women, his status was there. He said he met a new classmate, who would dare to laugh at him. Looking at the silent classroom at that moment, and looking at Linyi who pointed to the place next to her, Kushina blushed slightly, nodded, and then continued to introduce. "My dream is to become the first female Hokage in the village." Female Hokage? Hokage is the dream of almost all ninjas in the village. Although there is no male superiority in the ninja world, all the shadows at this time are male, which faintly shows something. Before the students could react to Kushina's rhetoric words, they heard applause. Linyi clapped his hands vigorously. "That's right, I also want to be Hokage's man. We are really destined." Everyone. Kushina blushed slightly, but still arrogantly said, "Okay, then we are opponents." "No, I don't think it may be the opponent." The corners of Linyi's mouth rose slightly. His goal is to be Hokage's man, not Hokage. During the class, Linyi kept putting paper strips on Kushina next to him. "What's like someone said you just now, do you want me to teach him a lesson for you later? Your red hair is beautiful, what shampoo do you use on weekdays? I will buy a set for my sister too. You just came to the village, do you want me to take you to visit the village and the like?" But Kushina kept blushing and didn't answer. Could it be that Kushina is the kind of schoolgirl? Linyi blinked and thought. To be honest, it is indeed possible. The sealing technique requires a wealth of knowledge. It is normal for Kushina, who has a powerful sealing technique in later generations, to be a master of learning. Although the character is not quite like a schoolmaster. Kushina blushed, but didn't even listen to the teacher's lecture on stage. She couldn't help thinking of what Mito said to her not long ago after Linyi left. "In the end we were all brought here and will become containers for Nine Tails. I think you will be shocked, sad, and painful when you know this. We are indeed the Jinchuriki of Nine Tails, but even if we live as Jinchuriki, there is a way to be happy. First let the container be filled with love." Mito pointed to Kushina's heart and laughed, "But before the tail beast is placed, let's fill it with love. But in my opinion, maybe you have found something that can be used to fill this place." Kushina blushed, lowered her head, and did not answer. Mito smiled, and then said, "I remember that kid Linyi, he is still studying at the ninja school. You go too, I'll let someone put you in that class." Kushina was startled and looked up at Mito. Wasn't she brought to Konoha as a Jinchuriki? Go to class now, it's okay. Mito's smile was extremely gentle. "My old bones can last a while longer." Love. Kushina looked at the note that Linyi just threw over, and saw the words of "wait to trouble those boys who laughed at you," and her face flushed. Chapter 15 Blackening Minato into a sissy. Third update, all kinds of requests. Chapter 15 makes Minato black as a sissy. The third change, all kinds of requests. Because of Lin Yi's relationship, Kushina was not despised by the boys in the class as usual, but the name of Blood Red Pepper came out. Because she beat up all the boys who laughed at her on the day of admission. Kushina, quite hold a grudge. But it didn't happen that the boys couldn't fight, so they called the ninjas big brothers to help. Because the big brothers of Genin and Chinin who came to help were beaten by Lin Yi. Lin Yi is not weak at all, even the mighty Fugaku who has turned on the Sharingan can defeat him, let alone this group of ordinary ninjas. He is also from the Senju clan. Although the Senju clan is lonely now, with only 3 or 2 kittens and puppies left, his reputation is still there, and it is not so easy to tarnish. In the end, only the boys who were beaten could consider themselves unlucky. Kushina also integrated into Lin Yi's inner circle without any problem. Haha, let those guys underestimate me. So what about the seniors? They are not my opponent. Kushina pinched her waist with her hands and laughed. It hurts, it's stretched to the wound. Next to Lin Yi, who treated Kushina with medical ninjutsu. Kushina, you're a girl too, can't you be quieter? Mikoto looked at her dumbfounded. No. Kushina was not at all ashamed, but instead educated Mikoto. Mikoto, we girls can't be weak, otherwise wouldn't we be overwhelmed by those men? How do you say? Don't you still want to suppress this man like me? Lin Yi asked with great interest. Tch, then Lin Yi, why do we girls have to be oppressed by your men? Kushina snorted, dissatisfied. Lin Yi blinked, and pointedly said, maybe it's because it's convenient. Speaking of posture. Mikoto and Kushina looked at each other, confused. Although Hokage's children are relatively precocious, they are not so precocious. Minato next to him had an awkward smile on his face. He understood Lin Yi's words very precociously. After thinking about it, he said, Kushina, men and women just have different divisions of labor. Why? Sissy, shut up. Before Minato could express his opinion, Kushina threw a sentence in front of him, blocking his words. For Kushina, who has a fiery personality and a straightforward heart, Minato, a man who only shows a cowardly sunny smile and speaks in a effeminate gentle manner, is the most annoying. There is no manliness at all. Minato lowered his head disheveledly, a smile appeared on the corner of Lin Yi's mouth. Well, he won't tell Minato, he always despises sissies as if nothing happened, and then equates sissies with Minato as if nothing happened. For Senju's revival, Minato, you'd better make a sacrifice. Well, I also sacrificed a bit. After all, it is always not good to slander friends in private. But for Senju's revival, personal honor and disgrace are not a problem. Lin Yi also just smiled, then withdrew the healing jutsu from Kushina, patted Kushina on the shoulder and said, okay, it's cured. I'll teach you a fire style later, to deal with those guys' big brother sisters. Good. Kushina nodded vigorously. Kushina entered the class on the way. Although she also learned a lot of ninja knowledge before the Uzumaki kingdom was destroyed, it was not much. Lin Yi saw this, and often went to make up lessons for her, teaching him ninjutsu. His ninjutsu has been upgraded to the full level, and all the points are Grandmaster, so there is no problem in pointing Kushina. Even Mikoto, Minato, etc. learned from him after discovering this. Lin Yi didn't care either, he taught Mikoto the great fireball technique for easy oiling. Teaching Minato Tuliabai is regarded as compensation for robbing him of marriage. And he is still learning. His 10 wood clones are learning at the same time, so the efficiency is naturally extremely high. Wood style wood ingot wall. The current level is upgraded to LVMAX, and the additional status wood natural attribute Grandmaster is obtained. Wood style 4-pillar prison. The current level is increased to LVMAX, and the additional status wood natural attribute Grandmaster is obtained. Wood natural attribute Grandmaster. After hard training, you are more familiar with the use of wood natural dungeon, wood attribute affinity +1. Fire style Phoenix fire technique. The current level is upgraded to LVMAX, and the additional status fire attribute Grandmaster is obtained. Fire attribute Grandmaster. After hard training, you are more familiar with the use of fire style, fire attribute affinity +1. Obviously the 5 elements in Hokage are not the gold, wood, water, fire, and earth of Xiangxia, but he has obtained the state of wood attribute affinity. Lin Yi didn't pay much attention to it, but discovered one thing: attribute affinities can be superimposed. He learned 2 fire style ninjutsu, but found that it was easier for him to cast fire style, with lower consumption and greater power. Then he guessed it. The same attribute as Grandmaster can be superimposed. So, if ninjutsu is born to the full level, and then the attribute affinity is raised to ultimate, what will the final power look like? A most basic great fireball technique, breaking Kagayaji's heavenly imperial center.